ואלו הדברים שנמנו לקנבן, and these are the things that we're going to say now. כותבים במועד. You're allowed to write in חול המועד. So let's just say you're not allowed to write in חול המועד. That's the general rule. Now we're going to tell you when are you allowed to. You're not allowed to write in חול המועד except when. Except now. Which ones? מותר לכתוב אותם בחול המועד משום דבר העבד. We're going to let you write it. Why? Again, because it's going to be a loss. And because of the loss, you're allowed to write now. For example, קידושי נשים. You want to marry a specific woman. You're not allowed to marry her on חול המועד, but you can write the קידושים. You remember, קידושין... Oh, very good. That's דבר העבד. Very good. Somebody else? Very good. שטר קידושים, this is a שטר קידושים, שמקדשים את האישה בשטר. That you... There's 3 ways you can get married to a woman, בכסף, שטר וביאה. So שטר is one of the ways. Today we do it with a ring, but there's 3 other ways, כסף, שטר וביאה. ובכלל זה שטרי השידוכים והתנאים. To write the תנאים, to write the things. ומותר לכתוב את אלה בחול המועד. Why are you allowed to write in חול המועד? Wait after, what's the big deal? מחשש שמא יקדמנו אחר. Maybe some other guy is looking at her. He's going to offer her. Before he can take her, when there's a deal coming, you don't wait for somebody else to jump on the deal. והרי זה דבר העבד. So this is considered to be... Yeah, you're losing. It's דבר העבד. Or גיטין. גיטין? Wait for 2 days. What are you worried about a get? Give a get now? What do you have to do it? כגון, for example, שיוצא לדרך רחוקה. People don't do it today. I don't know why people... There's not so much... Today it's more... there's more information. Maybe that's why. But in the old time, when you were a merchant, and when you would go on a ship to go to, I don't know, to Italy to get some stuff, the wife will tell you, what do you mean you're going like this? To Italy going and say, something going to happen to you on the way. That's it. I'm stuck my entire life. Who's going to support me? You're not going to support me. Yeah, there's no support. Yeah. So what did he used to do? He used to write a regret. If I don't come back until a year or 2 years, that you're divorced. And he comes back and he remarries. He comes back, yeah, and she's still there. Or he takes the get that he gave her, he tears it up, yeah, and they can continue the life. The problem is the Kohanim. Kohanim can do it, yeah, because once she's a megureshet, he can bring her back, yeah. So, but everybody else is allowed to get divorced, get remarried, get married. So that's what they used to do. This is דבר העבד, גיטין, כגון שיוצא לדרך רחוקה. For example, he goes out on a long way. ואם איחר, הרי זה דבר העבד. And if, ואם לא יכתוב את הגט, תישאר עגונה. And if she's not going to write the get, she's going to have a loss. The loss is that who's going to support her? That's a loss. So therefore you're allowed to write a get. She tells you, write a get. He says, why? Write a get. I'm not allowed to write the חול המועד. So of course, I have a loss. Write a get. ושוברין. Also, you're allowed to write a shovar. A shovar is, in Hebrew, a receipt. Receipt, yeah. כגון, שהלווה אינו רוצה לשלם את חובו, אם לא יקבל שובר. It says, look, I owe you $100. I'm giving you $100. Here's the $100. But if you're not going to give me a receipt that they gave you the $100, I'm not giving you the $100. Yeah? מהמלווה, לפיכך מותר לכתוב את השובר. So the guy says, now I'm allowed to write, because if I'm not going to write, so I'm going to give him $100. Who knows if he's going to have the $100 next week to give it to me? Yeah, it's the holiday. He's going to waste it on meat and wine. Yeah, yeah, exactly. שמא לאחר הרגל לא יהיה לו לבוא לפרוע. Yeah, maybe after the holiday he's going to waste all his money on the casinos. Who knows? So ושוברין, דייטיקי. I have no idea what's דייטיקי. דייטיקי is מילה יוונית. It's a Greek word. ופירושה, I do know what's דייטיקי. צוואת שכיב מירה. Now, שכיב מירה, a person who is about to die, usually when a person is healthy, When a person is healthy and he writes his will, there's rules. He's not allowed to do foolish things. In other words, if he says stupid things in his will, things that doesn't look according to halacha, that it's kosher, we don't let him. We say, hey, write it properly. Shchiv mira, whatever he says, even if it's almost against halacha, he says, give my youngest son more than the older son. Things like this. Things that don't make sense. Yeah, you do, this is shchiv mira, he's about to die. Oh. So if you're not going to do whatever he says, you're going to cause his death. Because he's getting upset and he's going to deserve. So this is shchiv mira. Shchiv mira, when he says something, you're allowed to write it down. Or you're allowed to...
It's a will before somebody dies, sick. He's going to die, you're going to lose because you're not going to have a will.
That's...
I understand it right?
Yeah. A regular will, let's make the difference.
It's not a guy that...
he won't be able to write. Right. But shchiv mira, because he thinks he's about to die, that you can write. Chava'at shchiv mira. This is chava'at shchiv mira. This is somebody who's on his deathbed. Let's call it. He's on his deathbed. Bagmara pirshu al pi notrekon dai tiki. The Gemara, they explained it. It means dai tiki. What's dai tiki? Da tehele mikam. This will be to establish. Establish this as the law. זה יהיה קיים. This will be established. שדברי שכיב מרע ככתובים וכמסתורים הם. In other words, I want to make sure that you write it down. Yeah. Or מתנה, a gift. שטר מתנה של אדם, this is the receipt of a gift of a person. בריא, yeah. A healthy one, she'im lo yichtavu אותו. Again, you have a loss. He says, it's a present. What are you worried about? He says, this guy is crazy. Today is my friend. Tomorrow is not my friend. So therefore, it's a loss. I can write down. Yeah. יכול נותן לחזור בו. I know this guy is every day. Today I'm his friend, his best friend in the world. Tomorrow I'm not going to be his enemy. It's better to get it done with quickly. Upruzbul. And also the same thing idea of pruzbul. Pruzbul. שטר שהמלווה כותב לבית דין, this is a document that the guy who loans money gives the document to the court, ובהם הוא מוסר להם את חובתם, and he gives to them his, in other words, they have the individuals are not allowed to ask for money after the 7th year. But a court is allowed to ask for the money. So you say, I'm giving you the loan, in other words, you're telling the court, I owe the guy $100, or he owes me $100. Give me $100, and take the document that he owes you now. So now you there. But we're not going to you don't actually have to give me the money. You're just going to have the power on my behalf to collect the money.
The bed didn't buy the note.
Yeah.
It's like a note.
That's right. But I don't think that it's a real buying, because if the guy doesn't pay them, yeah. It's not like it's like they're not going to lose money. In other words, the court doesn't have the power to lose money. You're going to be losing the money. Okay. כדי שלא תשתמט אותם שנת השמיטה. So the Shemitah doesn't come in, and we know the rules that when the Shemitah years comes in, you're not allowed to ask for any loans. והטעם שמותר לכתוב אותו, and the reason you're allowed to write it, שמא לא ימצא אחר החג בית דין ראוי לכך. So what are you so worried? Do it after the holidays. But it says, maybe after the holiday, you're not going to be able to find a befitting court. Now you have a chance. This court, you come to Yerushalayim, I don't know, the court is there. Later on, you're going to wait a couple of months. Shvi is going to be over, that's it. And your loans are going to be gone. So there is kind of a loss. ותהא שבי משמד את חובתיו. And then the 7th year, the guy doesn't need to give you the money anymore. ויש משברים בחורון שרוצה ללכת לצאת הדרך. Some say he's not planning to be here on the 7th year. He's planning, after this חול המועד, he's planning to go on a trip for a year. And the shvi is in the time. By the time he comes back, he doesn't have the money. ואם לא יכתבנו עכשיו, יעבור שביעית ויפסיד חובו. If he's not going to write now, the 7th year is going to come in, and then he's going to lose his everything that people owe him. Igrot shum. Also, an igrot shum. Like, you know the insurance company do. They evaluate how much money, how do you call this? To evaluate how much money your car is worth or your house is worth. How do you say it in English? But you know what I'm talking about.
Of course.
Shamai, yeah. Appraiser, thank you. An appraisal is allowed to be taken on Chol HaMoed. שטרות שבית דין כותבים למלווה, this is papers.
To do the appraisal is the שטרות.
Yeah, it is an appraisal, this is on. ששמו את הנכסים של הלווה בכך וכך. In other words, we know that you owe, this is your farm is worth $100,000. Now you can go, here's a document.
That's the koloderon, and now they're writing the shtar or what?
No, this is the appraisal.
Oh,
the appraisal itself. This is an appraisal of how much it's worth.
Oh.
ונתנו אותם למלווה בחובו. And now the bank or somebody can rely on it to give you a loan, for example. So the appraisal process of the bank is allowed to be written in Chol HaMoed. ואיגרות מזון. And also, איגרות מזון is in America when the husband has to pay mezonot. When the husband has to pay the wife, what is it called?
Mezonot.
When a husband and wife get divorced, and the husband was the only one who's working, he has to pay the wife whatever the amount that the court decides. שטרות שבית דין כותבים, this is documents that the court writes, על מכירת נכסים, in other words, they're selling properties or possessions, למזונות האישה והבנות, to sustain the wife and the daughters, because the husband doesn't need to go, so they come and they take this one and say, hey, we took this much away from the husband. We took his cow, we took his sheep, we took his goat. פירוש אחר, מי שקיבל עליו לזון את בת אשתו שמבעלה ראשון. Another explanation, if a person remarried, it's his second marriage, or it's his wife is the second marriage, and he accepted, and she married him on the condition that he's going to take care of her daughter from previous marriage, that's why she married him. כותבים לה שטר לראיה. You give the document to say, yeah, he takes the obligation to feed your daughter from your previous marriage. איגרות אלו, איגרות שום ואיגרות מזון, all these documents, מותר לכתבם, you're allowed to write them, לפי שהם צורך המועד, because it's necessary for the מועד. או, what do you mean צורך המועד? It's not exactly צורך המועד. או שמא לא ימצא אחר כך מזומנים. או שמא ישתתפו הנכסים. So it says maybe afterwards you're not going to find cash, or afterwards the value of your farm is going to come down. We don't know what's going to happen, so therefore there's a loss. You can write all this. שטרי חליצה, also document of חליצה. חליצה, שטר שכותבים בית דין ליבמה שחצה בפניהם. This is a married woman that her husband passed away. She's supposed to get married to the brother, but the brother didn't want to marry her. He took off the thing. So that document, he writes down, umiunin. Mi'un is there's a concept that the parents can force a small child to get married in Judaism. Yeah, she's a small child. For example, she's starving. She doesn't have any food. And they can't support the child. She's going to die. So you marry her off to another family. Once you marry her off to someone, right? He's responsible. Now, he's not going to sleep with her. She's a kid. But what she does, she helps in the kitchen. And when she grows up, he will marry her. In other words, it's good for her to find a husband this way. It's a husband that can take care of her. That's unbelievable. But let's say she doesn't want to. So it says when she gets to the age of 12 and she's not interested in him, yeah, she can say, I don't want to marry you. So this is called mi'un. Even though they can so-called,
but she can still have the last word.
That's right. And in most cases, I don't know exactly what the halacha is. In most cases, they don't have a relationship until she's older anyway. Yeah. So, in other words, they married her off, and because she was a young, and now she became an adult, she has the right to say, I don't want this guy. Okay? Umiunin. Yetoma ktana. And there's always rules of when you can do it. So she has to be an orphan, and she has to be young. Shesi'u ima o achia. That her mother or brother married her off. Kol zman shehi ktana rasha'it hi lema'en beba'ala. So, as long as that she's young, she's allowed to lema'en beba'ala. Because by the time she becomes 12 years old and she accepts it, if she's 12, then it's too late. You accepted it already. You're married now. Yeah.
So since she's little, she tell him, I don't want to marry you. I don't want to marry you.
Any time that she says, I don't want this marriage, yeah, she can get out. Velomar she'eina rotza bo. He says, we're not interested in it. I was 3 years old. I didn't understand what's going on. And now I'm 7. I don't like this guy. I want to say this. I like his son, or I like his brother, whatever it is. V'yotzet mimenu belo get. And it wasn't even a marriage. Why? Because she can't go into a marriage. She's a youth. Ubeit din notnim la shtar mi'un. So the court gives her a document that she was mi'un leraya, as a document. Umutar lichtov shtar ze. And you're allowed to write this. Why? Shema le'achar chag tavi shtei se'arot. Because maybe she's going to become an adult and then it's going to be too late. Veshuv lo tochal lema'en. And then she won't be able to say, I don't want this guy. That's why the law says. Veshitrei birurin. And also documents of birur. What's birur? Ba'alei hadin shebireru lahem dayanim. If two individuals have an argument, and each one says, okay, let's go to a court. So this guy chooses one guy, the other guy chooses another guy, and then those two guys choose a third guy on top of them. כמו ששנו בסנהדרין, זה בורר לו אחד וזה בורר לו אחד. This one chooses his judge, the other one chooses his judge, and then the two judges get together, and both together choose a third one. ושני הדיינים בוררים להם עוד אחד. הרי הם כותבים בשטר שלא יחזרו בהם. So you write on the document the fact that he agreed that this is going to be the court, and he agreed this is going to be court. Because if you're not going to write it down, this guy is going to hear, I don't like the third judge, I don't want it. No, it's too late. You agreed, and that's it. Before. That's right. והם מתחייבים לקבל עליהם פסק דינם. So they are obligated now to listen to what this judge says. וגזירות בית דין, and also if the court come out with a court case, and that this guy has to pay that guy $5, you have to write it down. פסקי דין שבית הדין, שאם לא יכתבו עכשיו, שהם ישכחו הדבר. They're not going to write it down, maybe they're going to forget it. ולא יפסקו פעם אחרת כן. He says, but what's the difference? This is the court case, this is the court case. They will come to the same conclusion. He says, you don't know. I don't know if they're going to come to the same conclusion. Because I'm not sure, I might have a loss. Write it down. ואיגרות של רשות. And also letters that's reshut, that you have permission to. What does it mean? Of reshuyot. Reshuyot means government offices. ציוויי השלטון. Something that has to do with the government. ויש מפרשים איגרות מינוי שכותבים בית דין הגדול לדיינים בשעה שממנים אותם. In other words, it says that this guy is the mayor, or this guy is the second mayor, or this guy is the helper for that, whatever it is, whatever court appointment. ויש מנקדים רשות הרש בשבא. Some say רשות, the resh is in shva, ומבארים איגרות של שאילת שלום שאדם כותב לחברו. It's even איגרות של רשות, that just a letter that you write to your friend. Says, what do you mean? What do you need? What's the loss over here? והטעם כותב הרמב"ם, and the reason why the Rambam writes, מפני שאין אדם נזהר בתיקונם מאוד, והרי זה כמעשה הדיוט. It says because he doesn't, see, all those things you have to think 5 times, all these previous things before you write. A get, very complicated. You have to make sure, it's a job. But when you write your friend a letter, it's not a job. You just write, whatever comes. You're not going to use it. You don't have to think, what will happen if I say the vav over here and not say a vav over here. You write, hey, how you doing? So since it's not a hard job, let's call it. ולדבריו צריך שיהיה לצורך המועד. But even the Rambam says, yeah, but at least it has to be something to do with the holidays. Otherwise, yeah. For example, how you doing? I hope to see you on next Wednesday on this and this place. That makes sense. But nothing to do with anything. Wait after the Moed to write them. והרבד כותב, the Ravad writes, שם לא יזדמן לו אדם להוליך את איגרתו, והרי זה כדבר רבד. The Ravad comes and says, there's people who are going to that town, so he says, so you write it down, because then you have to find another people going to that town. So you're losing time, you're losing things, so therefore you're allowed to.
Yeah. I didn't understand until now why you write it so you can give it to the guy.
That's right. ביארנו הטעם, so we explained this reason, בכל הדברים השנויים במשנתנו, in all the things that are in our Mishnah, משום דבר העבד, because you're going to have some kind of loss. וכן מבארים רוב מפרשי המשנה. And most commentaries learn all the things you're allowed because you're going to have a loss. אבל הרמב"ם מבאר הטעם בכל אלו. Rambam disagrees. Rambam says it's not because of a loss. It's for a different reason. Why? משום שצרכי רבים הם. It says in all these cases, it's not for you, it's for the community. In other words, we need to know, the community needs to know if she's divorced or not divorced. The community needs to know if she's ממאנת or not ממאנת. In all these cases, yeah. ושנינו שעושים כל צרכי הרבים בכל המועד. This is the way the Rambam learns this Mishnah. It has nothing to do with loss. It has something to do with documents that the community will someday need. And things for the community you're allowed to do.